Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the newest episode of Beginner Guitar Lessons. Today we're going to be talking about power chords and how to approach them in a compositional type of way or an improvisational type of way. It's one thing to study what a power chord is, memorize the different shapes, etc., but it's another thing to actually know how to create music with the power chords, okay? Example number one, we're going to start on 5-7. Now 5-7 is E, so we're just doing a simple E power chord. One thing you can do is stay on one root note, just stay in one position, and kind of mess around with the different intervals off of that root note. So for example, if we stay on 5-7 as our root, we have the minor interval shape, we have the major interval shape, we have the perfect fourth, we have the diminished fifth, and we have the fifth. We can also throw in the sharp 5 as well. All right. Now, I know a lot of people will say that these are not power chords. They are intervals. I like to blur the lines. If a root and a 5 is a power chord on guitar, who's to say a root and a major third isn't just a major third type power chord, or a minor third, or a diminished fifth? All right? These are all creating very basic colors from the major scale. All right? So let's just start off on 5-7. And I'm going to bring in the diminished fifth. Back to the 5, back to the diminished fifth, back to the 5, back to the diminished fifth, back to the 5, back to the diminished fifth. Now I'm going to bring in that major third. I played the 4, back to the 5, major third, 4, 5, and back to the tritone, the diminished fifth. So that's an example of something you can do from one single root note position. We're not changing chords. We're staying on the 5-7, we're staying on the E, and we're playing all those intervals off of the E. Create a back and forth between 2, and then after you've exhausted that, switch it up. I went from the 5 to the flat 5, exhausted that, and then I went to the major third, 4 and 5 for a brand new feel. It all kind of works together. You kind of build the ideas upon the other ideas as you go through. That's example 1. Example number 2 of power chord compositional construction, for lack of a better word, jamming with power chords. What we're going to do is we're going to move the chord from 5-7 to 5-5 to 5-3, and then all the way down to 5-2. So we're essentially going to be doing like an E to a D to a C to a B, descending. That's kind of loosely in the key of E minor. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick 2 things to play from each root. So I'm going to choose the original power chord and then the sharp 5. And now we're going to move it down to 5-5, and we'll bring it back to 5-7. Down to 5-5. Down to 5-5, just down the power chord. Now we're going to bring in the 5-3. you have it. So the idea behind this one is that you want to move the chord around in a specific pattern. In this case, I chose notes of the descending E minor scale. And you want to keep the pattern or the movement of the notes within each chord the same from chord to chord. All right? So whatever you do on that first chord, repeat that same process from the chord below. That's example 2. All right, so we've come to example 3. Now, there are obviously unlimited examples of what you can do here. These are just 3 that I've come up with for this video. And what we're going to be doing for the third one is kind of combining what we've already done for the first 2. The first one was all about staying on one singular root note and just moving about the intervals from that root note. The second option was to move the chord in a specific pattern, but always do the same thing to every single chord so they all matched the interval structure. All right. The third option, we're going to be basically combining those 2, in a sense, throwing out the rules altogether and just figuring out what sounds good to you. So maybe for the first chord on 5/7, we'll do a 5 to a sharp 5, and then maybe I'll slide down the C and I'll do like a major third to the regular power chord. So let's see how that works. Ready? So there you have it, guys. I kind of went off course a little bit there, but you get the idea. You stick with your choices for chords. You move about, you change your interval patterns. And again, all we're doing here is we're picking the root note, the intervals that fall off of that root note, and then changing the chords to get movement and the progression. And you get some really cool stuff. Some bands that base a lot of their writing on this concept would be Dream Theater, Queensryche, a lot of progressive bands. Really cool stuff. Learn your intervals, learn your power chord variations, and then start noodling. All right? Hope you guys are learning stuff. Questions, comments, leave them below. As always, thanks for watching.